All right, Shalom. Before I get started with this live lesson, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakapadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who taught me this truth. And double salutations to all you Akim out there laboring, the house of David, the elect, that's pushing his word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom to you, brothers. And shalom to the elect. I'm back at you with another live lesson. Through the Holy Spirit, the Rakapadash, I pray that this lesson is edifying. All right, this is news and prophecy, the season of great wrath and war. All right, before we get started, let's grab the scripture here. All right, this is the book of Psalms 140 and verse 1. And it reads, it says, "Deliver me, O Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man." Verse 2, the point. Psalm 140, verse 2, it says, "Which imagine mischiefs in their heart, continually are they gathered together for war." See? All right. 50 million arrests. All right, we're going to get into this video here. All right, 50 million arrests. Americans have no idea how bad it's going to get. All right, and part of this war, this wrath that's coming, all right, it's set up against you tribes. All right, that's what's getting ready to go down. So when the scriptures talk about it is even the time of Jacob's trouble, all right, this is the wrath that's coming against you Israelites, man. All right, real quick before we play the video. And we've been saying this through the Spirit the whole time. People have no clue on how terrible things are about to get. All right, how your life in Babylon is going to change on a drastic level. All right, this is Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 19. It says, my bowels, I am pained at my very heart. My heart maketh a noise in me. I can hold my peace, because thou hast heard, O my soul, the sound of the trumpet, the alarm of war. See that? And the sound of the trumpet, going back to really the prophets, all right, that are warning you, that are giving the sound of the trumpet, the alarm of war, to prepare. All right. It says, "Oh my soul, the sound of the trumpet, the alarm of war." It says, verse 20, "Destruction upon destruction is cried, for the whole land is spoiled." Okay. "For the whole land is spoiled. Suddenly are my tents spoiled, and my curtains in a moment. How long shall I see the standard and hear the sound of the trumpet?" Again, how long are you going to listen to what's being said in these videos? All right, you're hearing the word come forth by the prophets. All right, but Jake is not taking heed. All right, there's no action. There's no discernment amongst the majority. This is why, again, when these things go down, majority of our people are gonna die, man. They're gonna get caught up in the crossfire, man. All right, most of our people are doing nothing to prepare for what's coming down the pipe. All right, physically and spiritually, right? It says, verse 22, "For my people is foolish, they have not known me, they are sottish children, they have none understanding, they are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge." And going back to this title to this video, which we'll get into here, all right, 50 million arrests. Okay, Americans have no idea how bad it's going to get, and we told you this through the Spirit. Okay, so let's get into it, man. This is the time and season we in, the season of great wrath and war.
President Trump has closed the border. Violent criminal cartels are scattered across the United States of America, living down the streets from our families. That's actually the truth. I know it sounds hard to hear that. Oh, that sounds sensational. Well, our next guest is going to tell you that it's sensational. This is the reality across America, one by one, inch by inch right now. President Trump, Tom Homan are working to arrest and deport each and every one of them. How will they do it? That's the question. Tom Homan just addressed this and said that he's building a massive operation to arrest these criminals. Watch him on that Trader Jake Tapper show. Watch.
Well, we're going to ramp up the number of teams in the interior of the United States. So we're building that teams now. We're going to increase the teams going out. They're coming from various agencies, right? We got We got about 14,000 officers within ICE between.
So he said he got a team of officers coming from different agencies. As I did the lesson a couple of days ago. All right, how these Edomites are arming up, they're preparing. They got the different agencies, they got the different Edomite terror groups, deputized officers, civilians. All right, they're forming an army, man. Right? This is basically a domestic army that coming. This is martial law, basically, man. All right, and they're getting ready to come with full force. 50 million arrests, man. Okay, let's play it back. It's a lot.
Said that he's building a massive operation to arrest these criminals. Watch him on that traitor Jake Tapper show. Watch.
Well, we're going to ramp up the number of teams in the interior of the United States. So we're building that teams now. We're going to increase the teams going out. They're coming from various agencies, right? We got about 14,000 officers within ICE between ERO and HSI. We want to pull more of them into this event. Plus, we got other federal agencies. You know, President Trump has all the government on this. So we got ATF, DEA, U.S. Marshals. You know, we got all the DOJ law enforcement entities, plus the State Department. So we're bringing law enforcement officials from all the federal agencies in.
Let's pass, Shalakia. Bear with me.
So, what does all this look like? How?
ATF, DEA, U.S. Marshals. You know, we got all the DOJ law enforcement entities, plus the State Department. So we're bringing law enforcement officials from all the federal agencies in.
So, what does all this look like? How is this all going to come together? Someone knows this better than anyone is J.J. Carroll. He's the author of the book Treason, the Biden administration's strategic and malicious destruction of America's sovereignty. It's a must-read book. Highly recommend that you pick it up. J.J. spent 24 years at the Customs and Border Protection as a supervisor. He knows all about the...
Right, real quick. So it was a point that he said he's bringing all the enforcements in. All right. Again, this is Revelation. Let's pull that up. Revelation 12. Okay, this is the book of Revelation 12 and verse 12, straight to the point. Okay, matter of fact, we'll go straight to the point. Revelation 12 and verse 12. It says, therefore rejoice, O you heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth in this end of the sea. All right, the whole world. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth, end of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. So again, the great wrath is coming against you tribes. Okay, you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and Hispanics. This is the time of Jacob's trouble, man. Okay, these devils have the enforcements, the agencies, they're all coming together for one common purpose, which is to come against you Israelites, man. Okay, real quick. This is 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, in verse 68. Okay. Oh, I wanted to read this in the GNT Salakia. All right. Let's read that in the GNT real quick. All right, let me pull it up. Here we go. That's what I wanted right here. All right, so this is 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 68 in the GNT, right? Just land backing off what we just said, what we just read here. All right, 2nd Ezra 16, in verse 68, it says, a vast mob of people is ready now to descend on you and devour you like flames. All right. Again, these are these different armies and enforcement agencies that are being prepared to come against Jake. A vast mob of people is ready now to descend on you and devour you like flames. They will drag some of you off and force you to eat pagan sacrifices. All right. And remember, they have the detention centers, the camps. All right. They want to enact habeas corpus where you don't have a right to trial. They have the, Alcatraz prisons. Okay. Trying to send people to El Salvador. Okay. All these things are going down right now, man. All right. They're ready to roll with this shit. It says, verse 69, if you give in to them, they will ridicule you, mock you, and humiliate you. right? It says in many places near the cities, there will be violent persecution against those who fear the Lord, because, as I said before, we're going to be bunched in this whole domestic terrorism nonsense, this you know, the threat to Babylon, America, you know, the whole narrative, as I talk about a lot. Okay, they're coming after everybody. That's why, as the title has said, okay, 50 million arrests. Americans have no idea how bad it's going to get. It's beyond immigration. Okay, they're coming after the criminals. They said, who's the criminals here in Babylon, man? All right, who's the face of trouble here? All right, they're coming against the criminals. They're coming against the homegrown teas. All right, this is what it's all about here, man. Right? Finishing it out, it says, 2 Ezra 16:70, in many places near the cities there would be violent persecution against those who fear the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. The attackers will act like wild people, all right? Like the scripture said, he's going to be like a madman, sparing none. Okay? He's about to completely lose it, all right? Because remember, these Edomites are power hungry. They got their man back in office, man, that's going to give them the green light. Okay? These Edomites are looking, they can't wait to have their way, man. So this is the clash. This is the war that's coming, man. All right, and we're going to get more into it. It says the attackers will act like wild people. They will plunder and destroy without pity all those who still fear the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua. It says they will turn them out of their homes and take away all their possessions. Right, that's martial law, man. All right, and we're seeing that going on right now with the whole immigration thing. All right, how they're kicking down the doors, dealing with the Northern Kingdom. But pretty much all the tribes are tied back into it. All right, they're coming after everybody, the so-called Mexicans, Jamaicans, Haitians. All right, all the tribes are in for this, man. It says, again, 2 Ezra 16:71, the attackers will act like wild people. They will plunder and destroy without pity all those who still fear the Lord. They will turn out their homes. They will turn them out their homes and take away all their possessions. This will be the time. This will be the time of testing for my chosen people, and they will prove to be as pure as refined gold. So this is that time. All right. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he will be saved out of it. Right? Let's go back to it.
And malicious destruction of America's sovereignty. It's a must-read book. Highly recommend that you pick it up. JJ spent 24 years at the Customs and Border Protection as a supervisor. He knows all about these operations. JJ, welcome back to the show. Great to see you.
Great to see you too. I wish I was a little taller, not 7 feet tall, but maybe I'll take an inch or two to get up to about the 6'4", 6'5" area.
You are tall. You are tall. When I first met you and we had, I was like, holy smokes, man, this guy's tall. He's gonna hit our ceilings when he walks in here. You wouldn't be able to stand next to Zelensky, that's for sure. So
no.
So you know all about this. So when you see what the president has done on closing the border down, lock down the border, but the sad tragedy of all of this, the sad truth of all of this is that these illegal cartels, we had Ryan Mata on the show yesterday down in Mexico, Tijuana, Mexico. The violence is absolutely catastrophic. Bodies everywhere, mass graves. So these gangs are still in the United States, and Tom Homan is having to go around and try to round up these individuals. What does that operation look like? How dangerous do you think it is right now?
I think it's very dangerous. We have to look at it from a real macro to the old days, I'd say the old days. This was less than 4 years ago. This was before Joe Biden. The Mexican drug cartels turned over their narcotics. I mean, they smuggled it across the border and they gave it to, the white biker gangs, 18th Street gang, MS-13 gangs here, and gave them the narcotics, and they would transport them, cut them up in the load houses, and then distribute it. Not anymore. The cartels are here in America because of Joe Biden's lax policies and really no policy, no law enforcement deterrent. The cartels moved their apparatuses, their personnel into America. So when we go, quote, into war with the cartels in Mexico, we have to be ready to go to war with them in America. They're just not going to give away $1 trillion business. They're going to fist. And
yeah, see, you already said they're going to have to go to war with the cartels in America, man. All right, and you better believe these Edomites anybody they view as a so-called, migrant, they probably think that they're associated with the damn cartels. Now, I want to make a point real quick before we go on. All right, that's how you know that this shit is gonna get crazy, right? So I just want to read this real fast, dealing with the cartels, right? So this came out yesterday, right? So this is from mirror.co.uk. It says, fears of new super cartel as Mexico's most violent gangs make terrifying alliance. And if you ever notice in the spirit, man, it's like all of these nations, all of these people are making alliances against this American system. I was just thinking about that in Obadiah real quick, right? This is Obadiah 1:1. It says, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord power concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh, an ambassador sent among the heathen, arise ye and let us rise up against her in battle. Now, these nations, all right, such as Russia, China, or whatnot, are arming themselves and they're preparing for war. But at the same time, it's like in the spirit, everybody is coming together to fight against, Esau. It's all spiritual, right? We're going back to the read. Okay. Fears of new super cartel as Mexico's most violent gangs make terrifying alliance, right? It says fears are growing over a new super cartel as two of the most violent gangs in Mexico are believed to have formed an alliance. It says the Jalisco New Generation Cartel and the Los Tapitos faction of the Sonora Cartel. It says a video spread on social media showing several armed men with two others appearing to have been captured by the drug cartels. There's no information as to the location the image was taken. However, those who took the video claim it shows an alleged alliance between the CJNG and the La Chapiza, a group of armed men who work for the Sonora cartel faction. One of those in the video is heard saying, quote, the rumors are true. The alliance between the New Generation Cartel and the La Chapiza is confirmed. Now, I want to just read this real quick and we'll get back. But this was crazy because I had brought this out before. All right, because these Issacharites, all right, in the cartel are next level, right? Bear with me. So here we go. This is the point I want right here, right? So it says inside Mexican cartel training camps as cannibal hitmen forced to eat human hearts. All right. Remember, they said it was thousands upon thousands of these niggas that entered into the borders that are part of these gangs. All right. That are heavy into rituals and witchcraft. All right. Wild shit, man. It says cannibal hitmen forced to eat human hearts. It says an insider has lifted the lid on a horrifying drug cartel training camps that lay hidden in the Mexican mountains, with young recruits forced to kill and eat their victims' hearts. Right? It says Mexican cartels are forcing trainee hitmen to eat their victims' hearts in horror training camps. These camps lie hidden in rural and mountainous areas as hitmen recruit young men into drug trafficking schools. Right? Last point right here. I'll read this and I'll get the scripture. It says the lure of mega cash for many young people convinces them to join training camps. That was the case for Pedro, who was just 13 when he was approached by a drug cartel. Having lost his parents while growing up, he was handed over to his grandparents. However, he was targeted by a criminal group who had just arrived in Sierra de Guerrero in southwest Mexico, and during a chance encounter offered him the ability to earn staggering amounts of money. Right now, I'm not going to read the rest of that, but the point is that you have cannibal hitmen. Right? This came to mind. This is the book of Sirach 39 and verse 28. It says, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made him. So the Lord has all types of terror coming to this place, man. All right, cannibal hitmen. These are spirits created for vengeance, man, that are operating here in Babylon in America, right? That's how you know, again, this whole thing is about to go to a whole nother level, man. It says fire and hell and famine and death. All these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beast, scorpions, serpents, and the sword punishing the wicked to destruction, man. All right, so those spirits, that's in those cartel members, those cannibal hitmen, all right, they're gonna be eating niggas out here, man. Eating hearts, okay? Horrendous crimes. It says, in the sword punishing the wicked for destruction. It says they shall rejoice in his commandment and they shall be ready upon earth. All right, these spirits that were created for vengeance are ready. All right, they should be ready upon earth when need is, and when their time has come. And when their time has come, they should not transgress his word. All right, so these spirits are ready, man. Okay, the love of many shall wax cold. We about to see things unheard of out here, man. All right, but again, this is what these Edomites are preparing for. This is why they're formulating this army. All right, the martial law, the troops, the agencies, the enforcements, right?
Tom Homan, let's take the 14,000 officers that he's talking about. Let's say they have to create a team of 10 each. That's 1,400 teams to go after millions upon millions of gang members and cartel and terrorists and PLA soldiers that are in our country.
See? This is the great wrath. He's coming after everybody. Okay?
He has got to stop or ramp up from 1,000 deportations a day to 10 to 15,000 a day. If we stay at the same number that he's doing, Clayton, it will take us over 100 years to get these people out of our country.
Your father died, and your son.
Bear with me.
Holy smokes.
My goodness.
I know, to hear the math, because you hear like, oh, these victories, like 200 people rounded up. That's great.
Yeah. It's just not the volume. And you talk about in your book how people say, well, we need to let some people in. And you give the example of numbers at the end of the book where you're like, well, what is that number? Well, we went past that number, that absurd number already. We got numbers from the Biden administration of how many people we knew, criminals that we had let out. And it was in the dozens of tens of thousands, I think is what the administration, including, strangely enough, embezzlement. Like we knew that there were illegal people embezzling. The problem is we know we've got a full-on mafia right now happening. And so not only do we need the manpower, but we need the detective power as well. And so what do we got? What do we got there?
I don't think we have enough. I don't think Tom Homan is, and I'm hearing this from multiple people, he is not fully funded. He does not have the personnel. Why? Well, you have Speaker Johnson as the speaker. He's brought up 5 bills to codify Trump. He's not giving not giving the money, not giving the manpower to Tom Homan to do the job. Where's the military? Why is the military not involved? There's a lot of questions I have for how this is being played out. It's too slow. This is not my words. These are Tom Homan. Tom Homan is frustrated beyond belief. When you listen to his interviews he's given, trying to applaud him with 100,000 arrests, and he actually was just like angry. Like, no, that's not enough, because he knows the numbers as well as I do. I think what is never discussed, Natalie.
Salakia. Let me let it still real quick. My computer's moving a little slow. Salakia. All right. But they see that, hey, look, they could be outmatched. All right. This is how you know it's going to be real war. It's going to be real bloodshed out here in these streets of Babylon, man. All right. Let me get that real quick. Ezekiel 7. Okay. All right. This is Ezekiel 7. All right. This is Ezekiel 7 and verse 5. It says, thus saith the Lord power, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, and evil and only evil, behold, is come. The end is come, the end is come. It waited for thee. Behold, it is come. All right. And this is what we're hearing in this video here. Okay. We're actually watching the end of Babylon, man. Okay. Before all hell and chaos breaks loose. The morning is come unto thee, O thou dwellest in the land. The time is come. The day of trouble is there, and not the sounding again in the mountains. Now will I shortly pour out my fury upon thee and accomplish my anger upon thee, and I will judge thee according to thy ways, and will recompense thee for all thy abominations, right? And America's about to get rewarded, okay? 2/3. You see, it says, and my eyes shall not spare, neither will I have pity. I will recompense thee according to thy ways and thy abominations that are in the midst of thee. And ye should know that I am the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, that smiteth. All right, this is the Lord that's doing this. Okay, it says, verse 10, behold, the day, behold, it is come. The morning is gone forth. The rod have blossomed. Pride have budded. Verse 11, it says, violence is risen up into a rod of wickedness. All right, we're going to see violence out here in America that was never seen before, man. Okay. These Edomites are ready to get rid of Jake. All right. Especially you Northern Kingdom Jakes, man. Again, this is the wrath that's coming against the tribes. Violence is risen up into a rod of wickedness. None of them shall remain, nor of their multitude, nor of any of theirs, neither shall there be well for them. Right? It's gonna get crucial, man. Okay.
A 60-seat.
Salakia, let me play it back. I didn't even have the screen share. Salakia, let me go back. Here we go.
To applaud him with 100,000 arrests, and he actually was just like angry, like no, that's not enough, because he knows the numbers as well as I do. I think what is never discussed, Natalie, and it needs to be brought out in the open, we are looking at a time bomb in America. And what is that time bomb? It is a demographic explosion. So you have 50 million illegal aliens in the country, not even disputed. Everyone that's in the business agrees that's the baseline number. 1 in 6 to 1 in 7 residents in America illegal alien. If we do not remove them, meaning Donald Trump does not get those people out, in 2030, our country changes overnight. Why? Because we have the census. And the experts say when the Democrats are able to get every illegal alien counted, we are going to have almost a 60-seat flip to the Democrats when they do appropriation for congressional seats. And then here's a kicker on everything else. Then the electoral votes will also switch as well. Meaning the blue states, the liberal sanctuary states and cities will get more electoral votes. They'll get more appropriated congressional seats, and you will flip the House to 60 seats. And as Elon Musk stated this about a month ago, you will never be able to vote yourself out of this. And this is the absolute plan of the Biden administration. That is to fundamentally transform America through demographics, through open borders. And they allowed 30 million people in 4 years. That's treason.
Yeah, so these Edomites, they're in terror because they're losing their grip over America. All right, they're being faded out, if you will. Now, I was just thinking about something as well. All right, because we are in the belly of the beast, right? And what we've been seeing lately is the implementation of this beast system, this technology. All right, everything is watched. They got the facial recognition. All right, because that technology is already here. As you can see here on the screen, right? It says because this is what it's all going to be used for. Okay, it says New Orleans called out for sketches use of facial recognition yet in the U.S. Right? Let me go down to the point. Okay, so it says New Orleans police, and this is everywhere, man. This is all over America. It says New Orleans police have reportedly spent years scanning live feeds of city streets and secretly using facial recognition to identify suspects in real time. It's in seeming defiance of a city ordinance designed to prevent false arrests and protect citizen civil rights. All right, let me jump down. Okay. It was a part about the invasion of privacy, right? Salaki, let me see where it was at. Let's see, bear with me. Posting those cases, let's say Fusion Center. Bear with me. It says, I had it highlighted. Yeah, here we go. So it says here, quote, it says, we cannot ignore the real possibility of this tool being weaponized. All right. All of this technology is being weaponized against you. We cannot ignore the real possibility of this tool being weaponized against marginalized communities. All right. Talking about you so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, Hispanics, especially immigrants, activists, and others whose only crime is speaking out and challenging government policies. Again, we are going to be labeled in that group, right? It said especially immigrants, activists, okay, these different political leaders, right? It says, and others whose only crime is speaking out or challenging government policies. Odom said, these individuals could be added to Project NOLA's watch list without the public's knowledge, and with no accountability or transparency on the part of the police departments, right? So this is everywhere, man, right? Thinking about Jeremiah, scripture said he would be like a leopard over the cities, right? This is Jeremiah chapter 5, okay? Because all of this was set up to bring forth this police state is the point I'm making, man. Okay? All this stuff is strategic. When Biden was in office, they allowed all these so-called refugees and migrants and gang members and criminals to enter in the country so they can implement this technology, this shit that we're seeing now, which justifies these Edomites to come down on everybody. Right? Jeremiah 5 and 6, wherefore a lion out of the forest shall slay them, and a wolf of the evening shall spoil them. A leopard shall watch over the cities. See that? Going back to his facial recognition technology, everything. Okay, they're about to push that MOTB system. All right. You got the social credit scores. All right, all part of the beast system. We're in the midst of the belly of the beast. It says the leopard shall watch over the cities. Everyone that goeth out thence shall be torn into pieces. See? Because their transgressions are many and their backslidings are increased, right? So hey, he's coming full force. All right. He's about to lock it all down. All right. So that technology, again, we're here, man. All right. Great wrath and war. All right. Let's put a little bit of this and we'll go on to the next point.
So are you encouraged at all by the first of all, stopping the flow into the United States? We don't have a wall built. I see some people in our chat saying, why aren't we building this big, beautiful wall? I don't know where the money is for that, if that's even coming together yet or not. You talk to your Customs and Border Patrol agents and your friends in the industry. What are they saying? Are they encouraged that they've been able to stop the flow of this, to stop the bleeding so we can go and find these people?
Yes, the border shut down. Donald Trump did it in a day. They showed you the lie. This whole thing's a lie. Donald Trump shut it down. I think we're at 99.5% or something like that of the height of Joe Biden's time. The arrests are not happening. I'm talking to my buddies. They're saying it's dead. It's dead. It's back to the, quote, old days, beyond even the old days, meaning when Trump was leaving office and we were arresting 500 people a day. It's almost non-existent. So now Donald Trump, I give him an A, not an A+ on the border, because the border wall is not finished. There's not enough military down there, but he's crushed it. However, that's not the big problem. The big problem is, what are you going to do about the flood that's in your country? And let me give you an analogy. It's like when you come home and your basement's flooded because the main broke. Well, what do? You shut the main off. Now you have 8 feet of water in your house. When you take your giant suction fans and you blow the water out, what we're doing, instead of bringing fans and suction mechanisms to get the water out, we're using red Solo cups and we're dipping it in and dumping it out. That's the analogy of what's happening with the interior arrest. You don't have to like me or my critique. It's a simple math problem. You have 50 million people in America and you're deporting 1,000 to 1,500 a day. Do the math. It's just a math problem. And do you want our nation to remain a nation of our true demographics, or do you want to upset the demographics of America and allow this illegal artificial explosion into our country? Then don't do it. But if you want to save our republic, because this is a national security emergency, if you want to save our republic, then we have to remove the 50 million illegal aliens.
There you go. All right, so you know what's about to happen. All right, you can watch the rest of that. All right, because I did a few lessons going into this similar topic, but it's about to get real bad out here, man. For a lot of people, especially you tribes, you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and Hispanics. Right? Again, the season of great wrath and war, right? And I want to get this real fast too, and we'll wrap this up. Okay, let's pull this up. All right, because this is where we're at in prophecy right here. All right, it says, this is from America's First Report. It says, wars and rumors of wars, 4 major global conflicts that have reached a tipping point. All right, we're almost there. All right, we're almost there to the point of all hell breaking loose out this bitch. All right, let's jump down. So it says 2025 is certainly turning out to be a year of war. Unfortunately, it appears that several global conflicts have now reached a tipping point. It says, let me jump down. All right, and I just want to read the 4 major global conflicts that's going on, tying it back to prophecy, right? So you have here Israel versus Hamas. It says in the Israel Defense Forces posted it on X account on Sunday. IDF troops had begun extensive ground operations throughout northern and southern Gaza, part of Operation Gideon's Chariot. All right. The next one, Israel versus Yemen. All right. It says on Friday, the IDF conducted another huge wave of airstrikes on the Houthis in Yemen. All right. So all these things are going on as we speak. Okay. It says the U.S. and Israel versus Iran. Okay. It says many were hoping that President Trump would be able to make, quote, the deal of the century with Iran. Now check this out. It says, unfortunately, those hopes appear to be fading. It says on Saturday, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei viciously lashed out at President Trump. It says just hours after President Donald Trump concluded his Middle East visit, Iran's Ayatollah Ali Khamenei on Saturday launched a tirade against America and Israel, charging that Trump is a liar and calling for the destruction of the J estate. Quote, Trump said he wants to use power for peace. He's lying, wrote Khamenei on X, adding some of the remarks made during the U.S. president's trip to the region aren't even worth a response at all. The level of those remarks is so low that they are a source of shame for the American nation. That certainly does not sound like a man that is ready for peace. Exactly, man. We told you that. Ain't no peace coming. Let me get that real quick. Ain't no peace coming, but war. All right, Isaiah 48:22. All right, this shit is going down. All right, Isaiah 48 and verse 22, it says, there is no peace, saith the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, unto the wicked. There is no peace coming to America, man, to you Edomites. Okay? We're on the forefront of 4 different wars happening. That's going to lead to the major war, World War III. Right? Let's get a little bit more. All right? This stuff is heavy, man. We in some very serious times. Right? Last one here, it says Russia versus NATO backed Ukraine. See that? It says on Friday we learned what Russia wants to end the war in Ukraine, and it's a lot. Ukraine agreeing to neutral status regarding NATO, no foreign troops in Ukraine, no nuclear weapons in Ukraine, de facto recognition of Crimea and lost eastern territories as now Russia's. Withdrawal of key forces from these territories before a ceasefire takes effect. He says, in my opinion, the Russians are asking for too much, but they are winning the war. Throughout history, those that win wars have usually set the terms of peace. All right. So, hey, look, nothing is going to go for America's way, man. All right. Let me get this real quick and we'll wrap this up. All right. Because we're closer than ever, of all these things coming to an end, is my point. This is why, again, this is the season of great wrath and war. All right. 2nd Ezra 15. All right. 2nd Ezra 15 and jumping down to verse 26. All right. So this is verse 26. And it reads, it says, for the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, know of all them that sin against him, and therefore delivered them unto death and destruction. For now the plagues are come upon the whole earth, and you shall remain in them. For Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai should not deliver you, because you have sinned against him. All right, 2/3 are getting ready to see the wrath. All right, verse 28, it says, behold, a horrible vision, and appearance thereof from the east. All right, and this is why you had Trump just come back from a visit from the Middle East, because he's trying to establish peace, which is not going to happen, because we know that region of the earth is where it's all going to go down, which is going to be the end of this world. Okay, the world of Esau. All right, it says verse 29. It says, where the nations of the dragon of Arabia. All right, going into those Ishmaelite nations. Okay, as we saw here, right? Let's go back. As we saw here, let's pull that back up, right? As we saw here in this article, all right, with the 4 major global conflicts, all right, Israel and Hamas, Israel and Yemen, all right, the U.S., Israel versus Iran, okay, Russia versus NATO-backed Ukraine, all right? All these things are going on around the world, all right, as we speak here, man, which is going to bring that in. All right, so let's go back and read. Back in 2nd Ezra 15 and 29, again, it says, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and with the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble, because that's the time of destruction, nuclear destruction, man. Okay, these Ishmaelite nations are ready. The Palestinians, the Iranians, what was it called? The axis of the axis of resistance. That's what it's called. The axis of resistance. All right, those 5, Ishmaelite nations coming together to fight against the U.S. and Israel hegemony. Right. So it says, verse 30. Also the Carmenians. All right, going back to the Persians, the Iranians. Also the Carmenians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them. They shall waste the portion of the land of the Assyrians, right? And the modern day Assyrian would be Babylon, America. All right. So those Ishmaelite nations, those Iranians, the Persians are coming together to fight against the power structure of Israel in America. Okay, that contributes to the nuclear war. It says, verse 31. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature, and they shall and they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them. Okay, speaking about coming against Babylon, America. Let me see. All right, Shalom. Let me see if I can just pull this back up. We'll wrap it up. Let me see if I can finish this out. All right, bear with me 1 second. That's crazy. Oh, man, that's crazy. They be giving me hell on this damn app. Hey, the water. Appreciate it, brother. All right. Let's finish this out, man. They Slakia, man. They cut me off. They said it wasn't my fault. They said it was actually the StreamYard app's fault. So you know what time it is, man. All right, so let's finish this off. So anyway, I was just tying the fact that these 4 major conflicts is all biblical, man. All right, and seeing this, okay, we understand that the end is at the door. All right, so let's go back to that 2nd Ezra 15, and we'll wrap this up. You know, sorry for that big gap in the lesson, you know. But oh, and before we even get that too, just want to share this too before we wrap it up as well. This is from collapse.news, right? We wrap it up as well. This is from collapse.news. It says Israel's siege shuts down all hospitals in northern Gaza as death toll surpasses 53,000. Right, so they've been bombing these people. It's been open genocide out there, man. All right, we told you they were bombing hospitals, they were bombing towns, elementary schools, everything, man. And this is what's causing rage and uproar all over the internet. That's why, again, Amalek, the JOO's back is against the wall, man. Everybody across the planet is expressing outrage, man. The war is being prepared against the Edomite. All right, and I just want to read this before we go back, because this you could tie this into the 2nd Ezra 15. Okay, it says Israel has rendered every hospital in northern Gaza non-functional, including the Indonesian hospital, leaving thousands without medical care and relentless airstrikes. They haven't stopped hitting these people, man. 53,000 people put to death. It says the death toll in Gaza has reached 53,339, with over 121,000 wounded as Israel continues its military campaign despite ceasefire negotiation. They're not going to stop. Okay, they want that whole region. That's why the war is about to pop off over there, man. All right. Why did Donald Trump come back from the Middle East? Okay, that's where it's all going to go down. Gaza's healthcare system has collapsed entirely, with hospitals bombed, besieged, and deprived of supplies, violating international law and worsening the humanitarian crisis. Not a Jew ceasefire offers hinges on Hamas explosion, while Israeli strikes intensify, killing civilians, including children, in refugee camps in urban areas. All right, okay, they're losing it on these people, man. It says aid blockades have pushed Gaza towards famine, with hospitals unable to function as the world's inaction enables what many call a deliberate genocide, man. Okay, so this thing is about to hit, man. All right, let me go back to the scriptures. We'll wrap this up, but I had to make that point, right? So let's go back to the 2nd Ezra 15 there. All right, let's pull that back up. All right, let's go back to the top. Let's just start it back from the top. So this is 2nd Ezra 15, starting at verse 28. And it reads, it says, behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east. All right, going back to the Middle East. This is where the nations of the dragons of Arabia, all right, going back to the Ishmaelite countries, all right, shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, that all that hear them may fear and tremble. It says all the Carmenians, all right, going back to the Persians, which will be the Iranians, raging in wrath shall go forth as wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians, all right? And like I said, the modern day Assyrians is the Edomites. It would be America. Okay, that's why again you have the axis of resistance. All right, the Palestinians and the Iranians, the Yemen and the Houthis. All right, all those Ishmaelite nations coming together to fight against the American and the Israel hegemony. That's why things are so intense right now. This is why they're getting bombed. This is why people are being murdered. Okay, there's actual war going on over there right now, which is going to lead to the major war, World War III. All right, verse 31, it says, and the dragons, and then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature, and shall turn themselves, conspire together in great power to persecute them going back to America, Babylon. These shall be trouble bled, and keep silence to their power, and shall flee. And from the land of the Assyrians shall the enemy besiege them and consume some of them, and of their host shall be fear and dread and strife among their kings. All right, it's going to be just complete chaos. All right, you got the sleeper cells. All right, you got, as we showed you earlier, the cartel, Chinese agents, spies, war criminals, Russians. All these people have already entered into the land. Okay, they're waiting for that charge. Okay, that's how we know that something big, that Black Swan event, that major false flag, all right, is right around the corner. All right, it says, behold, clouds from the east and from the north and unto the south, they are very horrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm. Okay, going into those missiles. It says, they shall smite one upon another. They shall smite down a great multitude of stars upon the earth, even their own star, and blood shall be from the sword unto the belly. Okay, many people are going to get put to death in this time. Verse 36, and dung of men unto the camel's hoe or hew, and there shall be great fearfulness and trembling upon earth, and they that see the wrath shall be afraid, and trembling shall be upon them. Okay, giving you an idea of the times, total disasters, nuclear war. All right, the return of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, all these things happening. Verse 38, it says, and there should come great storms from the south and from the north, and another part from the west. It says, and strong winds shall arise from the east and shall open it, and the cloud which he raised up in wrath, and the star stirred to cause fear toward the east and west wind shall be destroyed. All right, so there's going to be a battles upon earth, right? Matter of fact, let me get that in Isaiah 13, because this is what the Lord is doing now. We're literally in the beginning of it. All right, this is Isaiah 13. Okay, Isaiah 13:4, it says, the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. That's these world armies preparing for war. This is why we're talking about what? The wars and rumors of wars, 4 major global conflicts that have reached a tipping point. Prophecy. Isaiah 13:4 says, and the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. For the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. Okay, war is being prepared. We don't have a lot of time left. It's my point of doing this lesson. It's all about the hit, right? Finishing it out. It says verse 39 or verse 40. 2 Ezra 15:40. It says, the great and mighty clouds shall be lifted up. Shall be puffed up, full of wrath, and the star that they make all the earth afraid, and them that dwell therein, and they should pour out on every high and eminent place and horrible star. Okay, going into those missiles, hitting the nations. Right, verse 41: fire and hail and flying swords, and many waters, that all fields may be full, and all rivers with the abundance of great waters. Verse 42: and they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills, trees of the wood, and grass of the meadows and their corn. Everything is going to get wiped out. Okay? Cities are going to get erased. Pure desolation. Verse 43, and they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon and make her afraid. Verse 44, and they shall come to her and besiege her, the star in all wrath shall they pour out upon her. Then shall the dust and smoke go up into heaven, and all they that be about her shall bewail her. All right, referencing Revelation 18. Okay, everybody's going to bewail the destruction of Babylon, man. Okay, so this is going to happen where in the Middle East. This is where it's all being set up at. Okay, so we're that damn there, we're damn near close, man. All right, but that's the point that I wanted to make, man. The season of great wrath and war, man, it's going down. Pray that you were edified. Hey, shalom to the next one. Shalom.